Nice to meet you all. I'm Chantal Mays, and I work with Insulet Corporation. We are a medical device company in the diabetes space. I run our university recruiting program. I've been here for just about 3 years now. Prior to this, I worked in higher education at a couple of universities and realized that I really wanted to be on the corporate side of things, but still have an impact on students and young adults who weren't really sure what they wanted to do with their career.
Good afternoon. My name is Dylan Williams. I also work at Insulet Corporation in the Manufacturing Engineering Department, Global Manufacturing Engineering. Prior to being in this role, I was an operations manager at the same company, helping manage the day-to-day aspects of the production plant. And before that, I was enlisted in the United States Navy as a nuclear propulsion plant supervisor for submarines. And last year was the completion of my freshman year of college. And the goal here is to learn as much as I can about engineering and get to finish my degree in mechatronics and just continue to help solve problems and use technology to try to make the world a better place.
Hi everyone, my name is Bob Vino and I work for the Spark Photonics Foundation. It is a foundation that was started by Kevin McCumber, who was supposed to be here with me today, but he apologizes he couldn't be here. And he, with a goal of introducing youth throughout the state of Massachusetts and beyond to photonics and advanced manufacturing as possible career pathways for themselves in the future. The other idea behind the foundation was to give youth insight into where they needed to go in their education in order to be successful in those areas. He brought me on. I have a background in education. I started my career actually in finance, working for a large financial institution in Boston, and realized very quickly that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. And so I went back to school and became a teacher and taught for 8 years at a high school, and then moved up to Northeastern University where I worked for about 8 years. I realized really quickly that I wanted to be more impactful with the younger age group, and so I landed a job at a place called Commonwealth Corporation, which is a quasi-state agency that specializes in workforce development, and I worked for their youth program, which trains students in Massachusetts in underprivileged and underrepresented communities about the skills they'll need to be successful in their careers. And then Kevin found me because he needed someone who had an education background to take over the foundation and run the program that we run called Spark Alpha. And we've been running it in schools throughout the state of Massachusetts now for about 1.5 years, and in about 10 to 15 schools at this point. And hopefully we'll be in more in the coming years. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Sean Conley. I work for National Aviation Academy. I've been an instructor with them for about 6 years now. We teach the next generation of aircraft maintenance technicians. It's something I started off in when I was very young. I've been doing it for about 30 years now. And it's been a very wonderful career for me with a lot of opportunity in many different areas, especially in science and technology areas. And I'm here today to bring some of those opportunities to light for you people. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name's Matt Spokane. I work for Associated Environmental Systems, and my role at AES is to do controls design as well as research and development work. I started off in the industry as an HVAC technician, and I wound up going to school for that. I got my bachelor's in HVAC design technology, at which point I started working for Associated. I've been there for about 4 years now. It's been a great kind of career road for me. I've learned a lot, and when I started, I didn't even know what a test chamber was, and now I design them. So that's kind of my backstory. I'll pass you off to Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle Coffey. I'm the Director of People Operations with Associated Environmental Systems. I've been here about 7 years, and our goal is to really intertwine with the community and be a resource for students in the community, to be able to help them see what manufacturing really is. I think there's a lot of kind of preconceived notions about manufacturing and what that means, and we're here to change that perception. So a lot of things I've done while I've been at AES is to really help show what manufacturing is and be able to do tours at our facility and really kind of educate everyone on what it can be versus what people sometimes think about manufacturing. Before AES, I was a corporate recruiter for about 10 years for an IT company. So I got to do a lot of traveling, got to work with students a lot, went to a lot of colleges. I ran the college program that we used for recruiting there at that company as well. So I've been involved with students for a long time. So I think that's why I like to integrate that into my HR role here with AES. And I'll pass this on to John Lima.
Hello, I'm John Lima. I've been with AES now for 3 years. I'm the test supervisor there. Prior to AES, I did commercial HVAC for the state of Massachusetts, mainly working at colleges. Prior to that, I was in the military for a couple years as a mechanic, and that's what led me into HVAC. I fell in love with it, went to school for it. There's so many different career pathways to go, engineering, commercial, industrial. There's just so many different ways you can go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll pass you on.
Hi everybody, my name is Ethan Patel with the Hearts Corporation. I grew up in Acton and went to Acton Boxborough High School. Went to school for mechanical engineering, and during that time I was able to intern at Hearts in the plant engineering department, and I loved it, and basically right out of school was able to be onboarded full-time. And now I'm here, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience as an intern and with Hearts, and kind of get that into your minds of, you know, getting that real world experience can be really, really helpful. Pass it on to John Steinman.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm John Steinman. I also was born and raised in Acton, right up the street, about a half mile from here, and I graduated Acton Boxborough High School in 1988. I also was an intern the summer of 1988. And went to school for a couple of years out at UMass Amherst, and ended up coming back doing some more work at the Hearts Corporation. I've supervised in each of the departments over there, all shifts, day shift and night shift, and Hearts paid for my education to finish my degree. I got my bachelor's degree in business management, and I am now the plant manager during the day shift. I've been there for a total of 24 years, and like I said, born and raised in Acton, right up the street. I used to come to the same library that we were just spending all that time in back when we actually used library cards. So with that, I'll hand it off to somebody that's been there even longer than me. Doug.
Can someone actually be there longer than you?
Yes.
I'm Doug Sieber. Well, thank you for coming today. I did not go to Acton Boxborough High School. I went to your rivals. I was a Concord Carlisle High School grad. But I started my interning at the Hearts Corporation in 1977. So I went and interned there and worked in multiple departments, manufacturing, engineering, until I graduated. And when I graduated full-time, the company hired me. And I've been there ever since. So that's over 40 years. And the last 30, I've been the chief operations officer of the corporation. So Hearts is worldwide. So this is our main corporate headquarters. But as you might have seen, we're here throughout Europe, India, Asia, and coming back. So we're glad you're here today. There's great opportunities with all these companies that you can learn about manufacturing, and I'm sure some of them will do intern programs. I was mentioning to somebody we had 23 interns this last summer, so it's a very successful program, and you've come to the right place to ask the right questions.
Now's a good time to take a quick moment and think of some questions that you could ask our panelists.
For Hearts, we're being right across the street from the high school. A lot of the students that go to the school there have come across and talked to our folks in our human resources department, and or know somebody who works there and tries to make that connection. But if with any of these places, I'm sure if you reach out and talk to their HR groups and think about what you're looking to try to do you want to go into finance? Are you looking to do engineering or other areas within manufacturing? I'm sure they could help you lead you right in the right direction, but I'll let other people kind of speak to that.
Yeah, so it's very similar for Associated as well. We typically post any open internships in the probably around January time frame for the summer. for college internships. And then for co-ops, we work with a lot of the local schools. So usually there's a co-op administrator in the high school that will talk to you about it. So if you're interested, you can go talk to them, and they have a lot of companies on file that will do that as well. I know we're with a lot of schools in the area. We do a lot with Minuteman in Lexington. We also work with Neshoba and Assabet high schools as well. So we are always open. You can always reach out to us directly. If you show up at the door, we'll definitely give you a tour and talk to you as well. We're always open to that too.
And one thing to note too is a lot of schools have dual enrollment programs with colleges or community colleges in their area. If you're a student who takes a dual enrollment class, what that means is you take a class at your high school or at a local community college or college that you get college credit for. You'll have access to what that college offers. And so you can go to their departments that handle internships and things and see if high school age group can apply for internships that are listed for students who are at that school. Because technically, if you're a dual enrollment student, you're a student at that school.
Yeah, I would say the biggest piece of advice that I have for this would be to come to events like this, connect with people, like everyone up here, learn what you're interested in, and then also, whether that's in high school or college or trade school, utilize the career services department, the advisors, the counselors, and career fairs.
And I was just going to add that sometimes people say, oh, I keep hearing that you have to know someone in order to get a job. And yeah, sometimes it works out like that. But also now that you guys have all come here, you guys all know me, right? So you can reach out to my office and I can be a source of connecting you to companies that I hear of that are offering internships as well. So who has another question? Go ahead.
No, that's a great question. You know, you think about it, and first went to college. I went to UMass Amherst, and I didn't know what I was going for, right? You know, I got out of AB, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go for business management, you know, the Eisenberg School of Management. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I was told, I think I was supposed to get into comedy, acting, and advertising, and they all kind of blend in together. But after a couple of years of doing school, I said, you know what, I'm going to take a break and kind of figure out what I want to do. Just to your point, you know, you don't have to have it all figured out at that point. And I went to Hearts. I went to work, and I started working on the machines, making a good living, and moved my way through the ranks and got up. And then Hearts ended up picking up my schooling when I got into positions of management and said, you know what, if you want to take it further, you're going to want to finish that degree. So they were kind enough to reimburse me as I got my degree in business management, and it applied directly to what I was doing. I didn't graduate until 8 years ago. And at that point, I'd already supervised on multiple levels. I already established how to be a supervisor within the plant, but I wanted to be a plant manager at that point. So they guided me to the right education at that point, and it applies directly to what I'm doing today. So now that's a great point. I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time. I didn't finish my schooling till years after I had started it. But at that point, I had it figured out to what my trajectory was going to be.
Yeah, just to add on to that a little bit, to your question, I mean, I majored in mechanical engineering and I'm now a project engineer, which, so that applies pretty directly. I found that school gave me a good background of kind of the fundamentals of how to think like an engineer, but the real world experience that I got from interning and actually being able to be hands-on and working with other prominent engineers to kind of tackle problems together and learning how they look at things and handle certain like problems popping up, that was really, really valuable to me. I'd say just as valuable as my schooling in my personal case.
So my personal experience, I started off working in residential HVAC, and I decided that I wanted to go to college for that. I happened to go to a college that offers a 4-year bachelor's degree in design work, so I decided that was the path that I was going to do. And kind of part of the way through that program, you can either decide to work on commercial refrigeration or work on controls. And I said, oh, well, controls aren't for me. I'm going to go work in commercial refrigeration. I then graduated college, got into the test chamber industry, and wound up swinging back to the other side of the spectrum and working in controls. So I guess my best advice would be don't let what your degree is drive what you want to do. There's always opportunities to kind of break away from your degree and focus on different fields.
My personal experience, I guess in aviation, I wasn't too much older than you are now, and went to trade school, which is really interesting. It was East Coast Aerotech, which is the very school I'm at now, and I didn't actually earn my degree until my bachelor's degree in general studies until later on. However, that real world experience, I believe, was extremely valuable, especially in the position I'm in now. I'm actually Vice President of Education right now. So I know from that real world experience that what my students will experience in the real world, in the industry itself. And that's something that's, well, to me is invaluable, that I would not be able to get from classes in college. And as these other gentlemen have said over here also, don't let for me it was the industry itself that I liked, so I went right out into the industry. Then later on learned about management positions, which I had the experience with from the industry and different experiences there, and then chose my college path based on that. So I kind of did it a little different, I guess, a little backwards. But it's worked out very well for me. I've had a fantastic career.
Everybody's had a very similar answer to, I'm going to college now as an engineer who's employed full-time at this company. And initially I'd done nuclear power for the military, and it doesn't take a genius to say that nuclear power and manufacturing don't generally go hand in hand. But the fundamentals of how to learn and the really basic components of just how things are made and how they function and how they work definitely gave me a significant advantage. That on top of the real world experience of being in incredibly stressful environments and learning how to work with teams when deadlines are close, or you have to talk people off of a ledge or something similar. That definitely gave me tools that I don't think I would have gotten in college at the time that helped me get the job that I have now. And in the context of engineering and having a degree, I think most people here would agree that engineering is not just a degree, it's also a mindset. It's, sure, I'm going to get trained and get my degree in mechatronics engineering, but the basic fundamental level of being an engineer is problem solving. Being able to look at something and say, how can I make this better, or why doesn't this work? And just as a few people have mentioned, I'm 29, I still don't know what I want to do. I have an idea, and I'm working full-time and going to class part-time, and I'm still filling out what's my end goal. But I took a 6-year detour in the military, and I worked in operations for 3.5 years as a technician, then a manager, and then I came to engineering, right? That's a decade of work experience before I even thought about taking on this role.
I would agree with everyone here. I think that as a recruiter, I see a lot of people who are in the field that they studied, and I see a lot of people who aren't. One of the best examples I can give from our company is the manager of our software test automation team. He studied aerospace engineering, but as a lot of them have said, it's very much the mindset. He was able to teach himself the, Python that he needed and the certain technical skills because he had that background.
A degree.
I don't care if someone has technical experience yet. I think that most people aren't going to at that point. What I really like to see is, have you done some sports? Have you done some clubs in schools? Have you, any leadership positions? Also, maybe other job experience, even if you've worked at Subway or McDonald's, that kind of shows me that you're able to work with people.
It's a really good question. I've done a handful of interviews for engineering co-ops, and I did a few as an ops manager. And one of the questions I like to ask is to elicit a response of, I don't know, right? It's not so much the technical capability of somebody, it is, are they cognizant enough of their own knowledge and their own limitations to say, I don't know the answer. And that's totally fine, right? Because any job or role somebody has in a company, they're not doing it alone, right? You're doing it within a team. and a team is meant to help and support each other. And that's a key aspect of hiring somebody full-time as an intern or a co-op is, can we put you in this position and trust that you're going to be, one, good for the culture and accomplish what you need to do, but also, are you comfortable enough to ask for help when you need it?
That was a great answer. Both great answers. Another is more technical, but if you're interested in a certain type of co-op or internship and you're at the high school level, some of the extracurricular activities you do can be a good sign of the things that you're interested in or the things that you're good at. So if you wanted to do something in a more technical side or engineering, the robotics club could be something that you'd want to take a look at and have on your resume. So those are things to think about too.
That's a really good question you have, and those are great answers also. I know that when I do interviews or interview students who want to come into the school world from the student side, your experience in the real world, or I shouldn't say in the real world, but your worldly experience, excuse me, what I look for actually when you come in is your attentiveness. You know, how much passion do you have for what you're willing to learn? It's okay if you don't know it, that's fine. I can teach that to you. And very important also is your timeliness. Are you on time? I look for that also.
I think this is all really great advice that everybody's giving. And the timeliness piece is huge. One of the things we'll ask is, how's your attendance at school? And a lot of people don't think that's necessarily important, but it tells us a little bit about how you're going to be as an employee. Are you going to be on time? Are you going to have that, personal touch and caring about how you're affecting your team if you're late? Does that affect the team? And so we look at kind of more characteristics, because we know you went to the trade school, so you have experience and you understand maybe general electrical or refrigeration or welding or whatever you went for from a technical high school. Or if you went to high school and you're going to graduate, we know, you've made a commitment, you've graduated, so we know that speaks about who you are. So we're looking more for your attitude. Are you a team player? Do you have personal pride in what you do? What do you like to do at home? Do you like to work on cars? Do you like to build things? Do you like to maybe build websites? Or are you more computer savvy? All of those things can play into what you can do here at a company as well. So really good question.
Yeah, I think everyone else had great answers, and maybe John and Doug can speak a little bit better on this than I can, but I do want to just quickly add that I think willingness and maybe an eagerness to learn can go a long, long way, especially paired with a good attitude. As long as you just are kind of showing that you want to learn and you want to be at the place that you're interviewing or applying at, I think that can go a very long way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The first thing, and these are all fantastic answers, and I think everyone would agree, we're here to teach you. When you come to a new company, nobody knows what we do, nobody knows what you do. Our job is to educate you and get you up to speed and competent as quickly as we can, as safely as we can. We know you haven't seen our equipment because nobody has that equipment like that, so no one has the experience within the company. But what we do look for is reliability. That's number one. Being there every day on the job is something that we all count on, we all look for. And our best workers are the ones that we can count on being in there day in and day out to work. Coachability, being able to be open to constructive criticism, feeling that you're comfortable to ask the questions and then taking what we're giving you and how you learn is really important. And we get that by how you interact with folks. When they say, what have you done for extracurricular activities? That's what we're looking for. Have you been a member of a team? Do you understand the team concept? Because all of the groups that we have up here, we work in teams. Even though we work together, we're in different teams within the company, we're all working for the same company. So it's important how you interact with your fellow coworkers. And it starts with being there and on time each day. Very important. So
The other big thing is be flexible. Each one of these people have jobs or co-ops, and they're great companies. You're not going to go in and be the COO on day one. And the first job that I had at Hearts, believe it or not, as an intern, I used to cut their lawns. So if you think about that, that goes a long way. But if you're flexible, you're willing to be in a team environment, as John and the other panelists alluded to, you're part of a team. You can't play a hockey game without a center or without a goalie, or a football game without a quarterback. People depend on you to be there on a daily basis. That's how we are very successful as organizations. If We're only successful if everybody shows up and plays their part. So when you look at the things that other people alluded to, what you did in what you do at home, other clubs that you were members of, what was your time in attendance? I think I heard it referenced at going to school. Those are critical elements. When you go to a company and you want to intern, those are questions they're going to ask you.
Something that's always kind of stuck with me is a saying I got in the military: availability is the best ability, right? If you're not there, you can be the smartest person in the room, but we can't apply that to nothing unless you're there every day. So just be available on time and just coachable, and it'll take you a long way.
So that's a great question. A co-op is when you are in high school, whatever type of high school it is, and you work with either a guidance counselor, or certain departments in the school have a department specifically for co-ops, where they partner with a local company to work where typically what we see on a technical high school side is you're a week in classes and then a week working on site for that company. And at the end of the program, you can talk, I think it's a paper that you have to write, as well as a presentation that you would present to this head of the co-op within your school. And you basically talk about what you did there, what you learned. A lot of times there's a format that the school has of specific questions that they want you to address. And then the employer speaks on your behalf as well. And they do a little bit of the same on their end as a reflection of how you were in the co-op. So it gives you a chance while you're in high school, in a trade or in a certain academia world, to understand maybe I'm not interested in this, or maybe I am interested in this, while actually getting to work in the company itself. And you can kind of get that hands-on experience before you graduate and see if it's really something you want to do.
And I just want to add to what Michelle said. I think that as somebody who's been an intern and somebody who has interns in my department, I think that so often, whether you're in high school or college, people talk about, okay, I got to get this internship so that I can have a foot in the door. And that's exceedingly valuable, but it's also equally valuable to have a real world experience and to discover early on, oh, I thought I wanted this career, I actually don't. And then you can go ahead and pivot before you are, in debt for college, or before you've moved and started a job and realized that you don't like it. So internships can be really valuable for that too, to add clarity to figuring out your path. And then I want to pass it on to Chantel. So Michelle talked about co-ops from kind of a high school perspective. She's going to talk about it from a college perspective.
Yep. And do you guys hire like college level co-ops as well? Or? Okay, yeah, so we don't unfortunately hire high school co-ops at our company. Because we're med device, you do have to be at least 18. But we have a very robust collegiate co-op program. So we hire about 60 co-ops, about 120 per year, to work across manufacturing, R&D, IT, a little bit, a couple in HR, and similar to what Michelle said, but it's just a very hands-on experience. Internships are great, but what I really like about co-ops, especially for the technical fields, is that it's longer in duration. So ours are 6 months. Some even work for 8 or 9 months. And so you just really, sometimes in the technical field, it takes 3 or 4 months to really get ramped up. So here you actually get double that experience. I don't know if you have anything to add. No? Okay.
Okay, guys, now's a great time to give a round of applause for our panelists.